Afternoon to each one of you. At the outset, let me express my sincere thanks to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be here before you, and very specifically Dr. B.M. Prasanna, and of course others who are involved. I was asked to speak on farmer-centric innovations in about 10 to 15 minutes. यहाँ किसान हैं? ओके, तो हिंदी में बोलेंगे कुछ हैं, ठीक है, ताकि आप भी समझ में आपके आ जाए, और जो मैं कोशिश करूँगा आपके लिए. बट देयर इज़ ए इंटरनेशनल गैदरिंग, सो आई मे हैव टू स्पीक इन इंग्लिश ऑल्सो, so I'll try both. Anyway, time is limiting and there are many things to be spoken about. I don't have slides. मैं स्लाइड नहीं लाया हूँ ये सोच के कि किसान होंगे और बहुत ज़्यादा बात नहीं करनी है. स्लाइड होता है तो बहुत ज़्यादा इन्फॉर्मेशन होता है, और आधा चीज़ जो है समय कम होने के कारण ऐसे ही निकल जाता है. बातें कुछ स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट्स में रखूँगा कि क्या बताना चाहता हूँ. The innovations, that too farmer-centric innovations. Now, if I take the example of India, the way we have moved from a food deficient nation to a food sufficient nation. 24-25 food production data says that we produced 6.5% more than what we produced in the previous year. 354 million tons of food grains. Horticultural production 367 million tons. 3.5% more than what we produced previous year. Very importantly, we are exporting after feeding this 1.4 billion plus people and providing free food to more than 800 million. So this is something which was unthinkable in 1970s and 80s. So today we are exporting, and despite COVID, we exported to the tune of more than 50 billion US dollar. So ये देश जो अभी कर रहा है खाद्य शस्य उत्पादन, बागवानी फसल का उत्पादन, जो रिसेंट टाइम्स ग्रोथ रेट हम देख रहे हैं, ये अत्यंत सराहनीय है. टेक्नोलॉजी खेत में जा रहा है, सरकार के पॉलिसी मदद कर रहा है, और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है देश के किसान अपना रहा है टेक्नोलॉजी, मेहनत कर रहा है. कोविड के बावजूद हमने एक्सपोर्ट किए हैं और 50 बिलियन US डॉलर से ज़्यादा सालाना हम एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, और वो हमारे इनकम में जोड़ रहा है. So this is something which is exemplary in the sense that the way we were importing foods in 1960s, 50s, and 60s. So this is one thing that should be taken note of. But is it that all the innovations, technologies which we are using are farmer-centric? If you eloquently speaks about farmer-centric innovations, farmers at the center of innovation development, technology development, and that as a core of sustainable food systems, which is being talked about globally in many fora. Normal Borlaug, with a very familiar face here in India, talked about taking it to farmers. The famous phrase, take it to the farmers. And that was the key message and key during Green Revolution phase. All those which were developed were taken to the field. Farmers benefited, country benefited, and today we have sustained that, and we are self-sufficient, and we are exporting. But take it to the farmers should not mean a top-down approach that whatever you do in the lab, just take it to the field and enforce on the farmers. By way of changing their attitude, that is the normal course of extension, and then making them adopt something which we developed, invented, or discovered in the laboratory. तो ये एक की मैसेज है कि ये जो बोरलग साहब का जो बताए हुए बात है, टेक इट टू द फार्मर्स, किसान की तरफ ले जाओ, किसान के पास ले जाओ, ये हम ऐसे समझना नहीं चाहिए कि सब कुछ जो कुछ है हम बना रहे हैं लैबोरेटरी में सब जाके किसान के ऊपर थोप दो, वो लाइक करे ना करें, उसका अपना एग्रो इकोलॉजी सिचुएशन के लिए बिफिटिंग हो ना हो, सुइटेबल हो ना हो, तो ये से मानना नहीं चाहिए। समय ज़्यादा नहीं है, मैं थोड़ा स्लो बोल रहा हूँ, पर जल्दी जल्दी कुछ बात करके ख़त्म करूँगा। इशू इज़ that it has to be farmer-centric. How many of our technologies are farmer-centric, and what does it really mean when we talk about farmer-centric approach? Some people say they're farmer-focused innovations, farmer-centric innovations. You also see farmer-led innovations. And one instance I found that farmer-directed technology management and innovation development. Now, all these expressions you find, and how all these can be amalgamated into one concept, that we participate along with the farmers in innovating and developing technologies, providing solutions locally, and then making agriculture far more sustainable, profitable at the same time. So what all it involves, very briefly I will take you through and then cite few examples and then end it. And this is almost 5 minutes over. So innovations and knowledge generation to start with, jointly with farmers in a participatory mode, solving their problem locally, and creating wealth for them without sacrificing the environmental benefits. How do we really do this? Telling is easy, but how do we really do this? So in the process, making farmers as a co-innovator, co-developer, co-producer of the innovation and technology, And the process also, part of the benefit accruing to him, his own knowledge, innovation, and protecting his innovation, creating national policies to protect his innovations so that it remains farmer-centric and continues to benefit him as we go along. So this is a kind of system and organizational framework, institutional mechanisms that a government has to think about and create that for benefiting farmers. So if the participatory mode of innovation development, how much we have been doing and how much we should be doing. And obviously there is a gap. We do see a gap in this. The CGIAR system, when it was deliberating on one CG, and as a member of the system council, so it used to be discussed and how participatory mode of innovation development and farmers' engagement in overall development can be enhanced, increased. As a whole, the CG system has also not been really engaged to that extent in terms of participatory mode of innovation management. When it happens, so obviously there are many benefits. If you engage with the farmers, you understand the local situations and issues and address their problems there without sacrificing the environmental aspects of it locally. And it is evidence-driven, taking into account all the factors which are prevalent in that particular locality, in that particular area. And because it is a real system approach that you address water, address soil, address all aspects of it in entirety, so obviously that is expected to be more sustainable. It is not that one particular recommendation fits to all situations, as we have been doing still with the fertilizer recommendation. We still continue with that. So how do we make it that in terms of scalability, though it is fitting well to the local situation, how do we scale it up? So that becomes a challenge, and unless we actually expand this kind of participatory mode to different areas and different situations, the scalability becomes an issue. So it's a very critical aspect of it, that scalability of participatory approach of innovation development. This specialized way of handling it, and obviously engagement of institutions and specialists should be always there, and the process, it becomes foolproof, science-driven, all that which is available to the farmers gets validated and becomes scalable for that particular locality, and then one has to see how well it would fit into other situations and other localities. And our own system of analysis in terms of technology development and their validation in multiple environments fits into this particular approach, but I think more of participatory mode is essential to drive this. The pathway that is involved in the whole process is engaging with the farmers. Engaging with the farmers. We have Krishi Vigyan Kendra, we have a system of operation, we do engage with the farmers, but I think there is a gap. And at global level, there is a need to really get engaged with the farmers before you start doing anything in terms of providing solutions to them. So engaging with the farmers is the first and foremost requirement, very intensively understanding their situation elaborately before proceeding to designing the experiment to understand and develop innovations. Acquiring knowledge at the local level, reanalyzing the information data that we collect, discussing among experts, all stakeholders rather, and then reviewing what we have planned initially and redesigning what is to be really done. So that is the past part of it, which is in an elaborate way needs to be done for a participatory mode of farmer-centric innovation development. And probably that needs our focus, whether CGIAR system or the national systems. There are some examples, case studies, I believe, in different countries. I will not go into those details because of paucity of time, and time is moving very fast. Few more minutes are left. So how do we capitalize on this approach and build onto this information base and then innovate there? There are examples, and globally if you see that the innovation development and farmer-centric innovation development in many places and many countries talk about the digital agriculture and engaging with the farmers and building onto digital agriculture, and that is one which addresses many issues of the farmers. Why? Because it has been analyzed in farmer-centric situations. The analysis reveals that it is 40%, it is estimated to be 40% labor saving. This is one aspect of total agricultural development, and that needs to be really streamlined and mainstreamed rather in different countries. And the focus is, whether it's FAO, whether it's national systems and countries across the globe, focusing on digital agricultural platforms in a farmer-centric manner to build on to that. And not just labor saving. In fact, it is talked about that we would like to save on the environmental parameters, whether it is water, whether it is the ecosystem services, whether it is energy, and all aspects of it. 25% increase in sustainability. That is something which is very, very important. And farmer-centric digital agricultural platforms might provide solutions, estimated to provide solutions with regard to sustainability, and this is what is actually estimated in terms of figures. A resource use and efficiencies thereof, and that is estimated that probably to the tune of 72% efficiency will be brought in totality. Fossil fuel use efficiency would increase, whatever is happening, more than 10%. And there are many different figures, and there are actual experiments which have been done. In fact, you find water saving to the tune of 20-25%, over and over what is happening. Yield improvement to the tune of 15 to 20%. Cost reduction to the tune of 30%. So the farmer-centric digital agriculture, one example if we take, and which is the call of all research organizations today, that and governments today, that in India there's a big way we are investing on drones and investing on many other things, the precision agriculture platforms, trying to understand the parameters at the farmer's field level, and integrating with the IoT-based, for instance, intelligent irrigation system, and saving on water in a big way. And water footprints decreased very significantly in many instances. And the carbon, the trading, we talk about carbon trading. How do we save on carbon? The carbon, soil carbon is 0.3% if you see average, and it ranges from 0.1%, and which is, we should go beyond 1%. So this is a very, very bad situation today that we need to really build on to that, and how farmer-centric approach can address this issue. And similarly, the local resources being utilized to a great extent in a farmer-centric approach. I talked about water, soil, and all those parameters to be addressed, but the germplasm. How do we take full advantage of the germplasm that the farmers continue to maintain and conserve on farm? The on-farm plant genetic resources, they continue to evolve, and that evolutionary footprint, they are all captured there. And these evolutionary kind of events, the adaptive features which are there need to be really exploited. In a farmer-centric approach, we have not been able to really do that. We collect those, preserved in gene bank. More than 4.5 lakh germplasm is there in our national gene bank. How do we actually provide advantage to the farmers? By way of capitalizing on this. The Plant Variety Protection Authority of Government of India has so far protected by way of registration more than 9,210 farmers varieties, which is about 52% of total registrations. This is one small component of it. This is institutional mechanism to preserve and protect farmers' resources. When you talk of farmer-centric approach, this is one that empowering farmers, giving their own rights. And this is one right that you are able to protect their resources. Their germplasm is their resource. And so what if you actually protect it and register it? How do you give financial benefit when you utilize them? And how do you utilize unless you determine the value of it? And then there comes the partnership, engagement with the farmers. The Indian Institute of Horticulture Research, one example of a variety of jackfruit. That variety is called Siddhu. I often cite this example, and in this community, delegates must know that how farmer-centric approach can empower him financially, not just keep praising him that you are doing a great job. So what? They are doing a great job. That is not going to solve their problem. How do we empower them? Honorable Prime Minister of India called everybody to increase farmers' income. It will not happen just like that. We have to understand, and the Indian Institute of Horticulture Research of the ICAR worked with the farmers to understand this variety, what value it carries. Once you understand the value, then the real value addition happens. The innovation has a market. And that variety now has gone to thousands, more than 30,000 farmers. 1.6 lakh planting material sold through Indian Institute of Horticulture Research. And this happened through agreement because the farmers' variety is registered with the Plant Protection Authority. So this is the proprietary material of the farmers. The farmer is empowered. This is a farmer-centric approach we are talking about. And during the past 6-7 years, the Indian Institute of Horticulture Research is selling this material from a single plant, Siddhu, that the farmer maintains, S.S. Parmes of Karnataka. And he has received from Indian Institute of Horticulture Research 1 crore, 10 million Indian rupees, past 6 months. So this is having a particular farmer-centric approach, institutionalizing the whole mechanism, partnering with the farmers, adding value to the material which he has, the resource he has, linking with that market, and because it has certain qualities in terms of the carotenoid content, in terms of the firmness, in terms of the flesh quality, and the color, the attractive color, and the market preference, the consumer preference, which was actually harnessed to the fullest extent. The farmer now has got 10 million Indian rupees in past 6-7 years from one plant. And there are many such examples. I will not go to details of that because time is over. So the farmer-centric approach must address the intellectual property requirement, must address the participatory empowerment of the farmers by providing institutional support, adding value to what farmers have in terms of their resource, and then finishing, and then in the process enhancing their income and ultimately benefiting the consumers at large. So this is what is actually required. National level, and also at the global level. So this example must lead us in the direction of inventing and putting in place more farmer-centric approach. Gene editing, is it farmer-centric? It appears not. It was based on the discovery of a mechanism that the bacteria fights its enemy, its own survival mechanism. But we have taken it to engineer plants, or rather genetically modified plants. Do they support farmers? In what way? Is it farmer-centric? What way? Certainly it solves the farmer's problem. How it solves and what way it fits into the participatory approach in a problem-solving mode. We need to really frame all our discoveries into and put into the context of farmer-centric programs and innovations so that we solve the farmer's problem and enhance their income without compromising the ecosystem services and environmental benefits that we talk about. With these words, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and to stand before you and talk about farmer-centric approach. There are a whole lot of things to talk about. I've only highlighted a few points along with the approach that is important and with one example. Thank you very much.